Live from Orlando, Florida, you're now listening to the OZone Podcast, the voice of Orlando Magic fans. Join us every week for a unique fan perspective on all of the latest Magic news and updates. The show starts now.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome back to another episode of the OZone Podcast, brought to you by DraftKings and part of the Basketball Podcast Network. We are your host, Al, myself, Anthony. Today is Friday, December 2nd, and this is our first episode of December, man. It's already the end of the year. It's almost 2023,
How did that happen?
Insane. It's going by quick. In today's episode, listen, we're talking about the return of Markelle Fultz. We're talking about, the continued emergence of Bo. And we're going to break down some comments around, some of the things that we're hearing in the NBA about Bobo. But before we get into that, quick shout out to our Patreon members: Blake Bickerstaff, Court Cousins, Stephen Cameron, Danimo, Casey Wood, Fins Fan for Life, Michael Martin, Jamel Miller, Mr. Mikey Zico, Dylan, Yachty, and Yo Mama Mobamba. It's going to continue to be the last name that we add.
That's your guy?
Just because we love it so much, man. It goes. Listen, before we break down the 4 games, since our last podcast, Magic have been on a little bit of a losing streak. It's been rough. Al, tell me a little bit, man. What is your overall feeling and standing with the Magic? And not just, I don't want to hear just from yours, but also what's the feeling that you're getting from the fan base at the moment? Where are we at?
It's not a fun time to be a Magic fan, despite all the excitement, right? You think about Markelle coming back, Cole Anthony came back yesterday, but it's rough, man. And it was by far, even thinking of last year, I'm going to say it was probably one of the most difficult weeks to be a Magic fan, just because, let's keep it real, man. We play like crap. And not only did we play like crap, we played like crap against teams that I'm a little surprised, like especially Philadelphia at home without Embiid, Harden, Maxey, Tybalt. We got spanked that Sunday game, 133-103. The Friday game, we still didn't play. The score makes it look nice, but it wasn't that good, 107-99. I'm going to tell you, man, it was a rough week because we didn't see any of the things that had us excited. The first few weeks, we were like, you know what? First month, we're losing, but we're playing hard. We're competing. Every game's going down to the wire. It's okay. Like, if this is our version of tanking and we end up playing the lottery game again, but we're playing like this is fun. This week, it was not fun. By halftime, most of these games, I was so heated that I'm like, number one, I don't want to go to the games. Number two, I don't want to keep watching these games. So not a good thing when diehards like me and you that tune in every single game are saying either I don't want to go to the arena or I don't want to tune in and watch this game anymore. And that's not only from us. We have our Discord chat. You can see that happening in the Discord chat every night that we play this week. At the arena, the groans and the fans just saying, mostly, I'm watching you. Ball, put your hands up. It's crazy. Like, everyone just keeps saying the same thing. And you think it's only, again, me and you, because we watch it team so hard. We care so much. No. It's a casual viewer that's noticing this team is not looking good right now. So that's my take. It was a really rough week. What about you, man? How are you doing with this Magic team after this week?
Yeah, so it's the 2 Philadelphia games were really, really rough, just because you thought that was going to be a moment where the Magic were able to get a little confidence back, and those should have been winnable games when their best player is damn Tobias Harris, man. Like, they're hurting. There's no reason why those games shouldn't have been more competitive. Like, you're talking about no James Harden, no Joel Embiid, and we're losing by 30 points. So you're kind of thinking, all right, so we're really injured. That's when we got, so the second Philadelphia game, that's when we ended up getting the news circulation about Markelle Fultz being questionable. We're like, all right, this makes sense. It's a home game. It's against Philadelphia. I'm gonna get Markelle back. And then last minute they axed it, and Markelle is not coming back. And it kind of feels as if the team felt it as well. There was comments from Terrence Ross on his streaming where he saw the notification that Markelle Fultz is questionable. He's like, "What? Markelle Fultz is questionable? Man, they don't the team don't tell us nothing anymore. If he's playing, then I'm definitely playing." Like you can tell that he was really hyped about it. But that's kind of not what happened. We ended up losing by 30 points to a very winnable basketball team. Now kind of fast forwarding it, it's like we get stomped by Philadelphia, but then we play a team that's fully loaded in the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and it's a battle, bro. Like we were in that game the whole entire time. We're giving Kevin Durant the business. Kevin Durant still went off, but we lost that game 109 and 102, and I think that was a perfect example of losing by 30 to a Tobias Harris led team to then going toe to toe with Kevin Durant in a somewhat healthy Brooklyn Nets. It's like the Magic always find a way to like make you hold on tight. Like you can't fully let go because then they'll do something like that, and it's also, we're going to talk a little bit more about it in a few, but to hear some of the comments that Kevin Durant has made in regards to Bobo, Paolo Banchero, and our players, it's a reminder that there's a lot of positives, but then we get humbled really quick as well after that game against the Hawks, and there's just, dude, I do not like Murray for nothing in this world, bro. There's nothing about his game that I like. His arrogance drives me absolutely insane. It's gotten worse and so crazy because I've never, like, if it wasn't for like this pro-am battle that he had with Paolo, I've never saw anything like that. Like I felt
Yep.
like in San Antonio he was a quiet little puppy, and now all of a sudden he got a little swagger now that he's playing with Trae Young, and it drives me crazy because it's kind of like, slow down, man. Y'all ain't really nice like that. Like, y'all about to get humbled, and it's not going to be humbled by us, but someone else is going to humble you. I felt like that was another game where, all right, we get the green light. Markelle Fultz is back, minute restrictions, but he's playing. Cole Anthony, minute restrictions, but he's playing. We finally got point guards on the basketball court. When was the last time we had a point guard? Like Cole's been out for a hot minute, So it's the inconsistency. I feel like the Magic fan base, we're bipolar at the moment. We can't decide how we feeling because it feels like a civil war. You have people on the left that are like, it's time to tank, man. We just got to tank one more season. And then you got the other side that's saying, man, if only we were fully healthy, we'd be a 4th seed. Like if we were healthy, we would be in the playoffs. And I'll be honest with you, I'm dead center in the middle. I'm being pulled left and right because there's parts of me where it's kind of like, what were we really expecting? Like let's be honest. There's moments where we get so hyped in the beginning of the season that we're biased. We think way more highly of our team, but then you have these people in the media outlets that we believe don't know anything, but then the Magic end up keep proving them right. It kind of pisses me off a lot when that happens because in our mindset, it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got to ask two quick follow-ups there. So one thing that Terrence Ross also mentioned on that stream that you're talking about is about Markelle. It's like, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we bring him back, but then shut him down for the next 12 games.
Right.
I found that really interesting, that comment.
Yeah.
And second, you talk about inconsistency, right? So we beat the Phoenix Suns for somewhat loaded that game. They didn't have Chris Paul. And then you beat the Dallas Mavericks with Luka and the whole squad. In those games, we didn't have Paolo playing and a bunch of injured guys. No point guards, none of that. But we find a way to beat those teams. You talk about Brooklyn. We found a way to make it really competitive. It was fun to watch. I just don't comprehend the Philadelphia games one bit. Last night, embarrassing, man. I think the only fun part was the first 2 minutes because Markelle, the hype, he made a layup, a little runner, exciting. After that, to your point, it was a clown show. It was Trae Young killed us. Murray killed us. Unfortunately, I expected more of a little fight between Paolo and him. That never happened. But To your point, I just cannot make sense of this team right now because sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. We got Paolo back right now playing, and unfortunately, even with him on the lineup, we're getting spanked, which I did not expect because we played so well prior to him getting injured. So there's a lot going on, but I do want to ask you. So number one, the Terrence Ross comment. Number two, what do you make out of all this like injuries, players rotating in and out? So we didn't have any point guards. Now the issue is we don't have any bigs. So now Mo Bamba's out, Wendell is out, Mo Wagner is back, but not really. He's still kind of hurt, kind of getting back. And that's why we got spanked last night. We couldn't block a shot. We couldn't rebound anything. So what do you make out of those two comments, Terrence Ross comments and the fact that it seems like whenever somebody gets healthy, one comes back, three go out. It's that planned. It's that really people just getting hurt. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I appreciate the most about Terrence Ross is the fact that the dude is just honest, right? And ever since that he started his podcast, his streaming, he doesn't shy away from making comments. This isn't the first time that we heard any Magic related news coming out of those things. It's to a point that now we have to watch his streaming because these things are coming out. I appreciate the honesty because it's a reminder that it's not just frustrating for us; it's frustrating for them also. You can tell that they're kind of pissed off. It's kind of like him making the comments of he's going to play Markel's going to play one game and they're probably going to sit him out for 1 out of 12. It's confirming to me that the Magic take way longer with their injuries more so than the norm, which we kind of knew that already, but to hear it coming from one of the players is where it's kind of eye-opening, where it's like, all right, we're not just frustrated fans just saying all this nonsense out of nowhere. There's some legs to it. And I think that, if Terrence Ross feels that way, then you best believe everyone else does as well, because this is coming from the vet. So if the vet is feeling this way, then what are the young cats thinking?
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking the exact same thing. Like I know here's the thing. When it comes to tanking, there's tanking from the front office, and then there's tanking from the players. The players aren't tanking. They're not the ones that are saying, hey, I don't want to play basketball and make sure that I'm out for, a year and a half. They're not the ones saying that. People who are frustrated with Jonathan Isaac, you can be frustrated at Jonathan Isaac for all the outside, antics or whatever you want to call it, but you can't be frustrated at him as a basketball player because he's not the one saying that I don't want to play. It's the front office doing that. And I think that the players are frustrated in those regards. As far as the players coming in and playing and coming out, I think that we are like I had a conversation with somebody the other day about this. Like, are we really that injured? Yes, we are really that injured. Like our players are getting hurt, and that's the sad reality. Coach Most made a comment about it the other day, saying I really have never seen anything like this before with the amount of injuries that we're experiencing. It's not just this season. It's not just last season. It's the season before that. We've been dealing with this crap for a minute. Like it's just the way that it is. The tanking part, where I consider it the tanking part, is again the amount of time it takes to be able to bring our players back. And we've mentioned this before. If the Magic were a playoff team, and it's expected for the Magic to make the playoffs, to make a run, then we're not waiting for these players to be 120, 150%, because that's what it feels like right now. We're waiting for them to be overly okay.
Yep.
And we're making them wait a lot longer. So then it leads me to then ask, like, okay, if we're waiting for Markelle Fultz to be 150%, if we're waiting for the same thing with Cole Anthony, why the hell do we have them in a minutes restriction if now they're 150%? But then the excuse would be because we have to get them game ready, and this is the way that we do it. We have to get them in game shape.
And that's what makes it so interesting. So yeah, we got Markelle back yesterday. Again, we talked about it last week. The anticipation, is it going to happen? Is it not? Hey, it's here. It happened. But to your point, it was exciting to see, Markelle will start. And right after that, Kobe tweeted on a minute restriction, 15 minutes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? This dude came back from...
It's a buzzkill.
Yeah, like dude, like the excitement was so crazy on Twitter. The excitement again on our group chat, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, 15 minutes. Like, what's that gonna do? Like, this guy's been getting
It's not.
ready
It's
from a
not.
toe,
It's nothing.
dude. But this is my thing though. It's a toe injury. The ACL when he came back from that and he was like 15 minutes, 18, 20. I get it. That's a knee injury that takes a little bit longer. Understood. A toe injury, you got to treat him with a 15-minute restriction when he gets back.
Yeah, but
It's,
we knew that. That's the thing. In order for us to be less frustrated, we have to remind ourselves that this isn't a surprise. The front office is being the front office. What they're doing is not anything out of the norm of what we expected. We knew that these dudes were going to be on a minute restrictions. The the frustrating part is that Markel Fultz had a decent game.
mhm.
17 minutes, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 rebound, 4 assists, and then 8 points. Like he did work in his 17 minutes. And it's like you got Franz Wagner out here, playing 32 minutes, Paolo playing 35. These dudes need help
That's the
desperately.
thing. That's the thing, man. Like I'm concerned honestly about Franz and Paolo. Like those guys that are getting 38, 39 minutes a night. It's fun to watch as a fan. We want to see those two. We know they're the two best players on the team right now. The brightest future is the two of them. But it's concerning too because there's such a big workload on those guys right now. And we've seen how Franz fall a couple times and hold his ankle. He was looking at his knee the other night. We know he has a hand injury at the moment. It's like, okay, if that falls and now Franz gets hurt, he has to miss a month, 2 months, whatever it may be, God forbid, the season is over. Like for us, what keeps me watching at the very least, Paolo, Franz, and now the return of Markel. Like that's it. When we're fully healthy, of course, excitement all around. There's so many young guys who want to see build that chemistry, but we're not seeing that. So at the very least, I gotta have Franz and Paolo playing along with Markel and somebody else. But if one of those guys goes down, man, it's gonna be tough because that's what we got to hold on to right now. But with that being said, another follow-up question for you, really quickly. 5-17 record right now, 6 game losing streak. We've now officially reached the 1/4 point of the season, so 22 games in. What are your thoughts? So the season we entered it with a mindset 32 wins, maybe in a playing tournament run. Be realistic now. December 1st, 22 games in, 12 games under 500. We just found out today Wendell won't be back for another couple of weeks. Where do we go from here? What's the mindset that you advise myself and also those listening and watching us to have going forward? Because obviously the playing tournament seems a little bit rough right now.
I mean, listen, if you haven't already been doing research in this draft, I think it's about time to do that. Whatever extra time you have on the side, make sure that you're looking at these names because there's a lot of really good players in that draft. I think that's where we're at. Here's my thing. I've transitioned my thought process, and I think the part that makes it tough is that Markel Fultz was legit screaming out fourth seed like that. We weren't setting those expectations. The players were. That's where they thought that they were at. Terrence Ross was saying that, man, he's looking at the team that we have. He's seeing Bobo do crazy nonsense. He's seeing Paolo Banchero and all the skills and everything that he brings to the table. Man, this could really be a playoff team. At this point, no, we're not there. We're not there, and I think that like, okay, I'm at the point where I've accepted it. It's okay. Right now, what I want is I want competitive basketball. That's what I want. I don't want to lose by 30 points to a crappy ass Philadelphia team. I don't. I want to be able to go toe to toe with the Brooklyn Nets. That was fun basketball. And it's not just fun from Paolo. It's not just fun from watching Franz go crazy. Like watching Bobo out there is exciting. Like this
Mhm.
man dropped 24 points and scored those 24 in 39 minutes, and he was doing ridiculous things, man. To the point that you have everyone talking about him. You got Stephon Marbury coming out here saying that he's going to be a big name in the league. He's going to be an all-star caliber type player. You got Kevin Durant saying that he loves playing against teams that have young players that are tall, long, because it forces him to elevate his game. There's a lot of compliments coming out, but at the same time, it's a reminder that Yeah, we should have pumped our brakes a long time ago, and it's okay. What I wish is that there was improvements from last year. Like there has to be gradual to get there. If it's not this year, then what do we say about next year? Like what is your now expectation of your prediction, your updated prediction of games won this year?
Man, I think I said it last night in our
Do we crack 25?
hardly. The only way we do crack 25 is if everyone comes back, stays healthy. Even Ji comes back and has an impact. I don't see it, man. And I'm not gonna blame the players for this. Whoever, again, we're not that deep inside the organization to know how things are being done. But I can tell you the draft, honestly, it's being looked upon as, hey, we need one more top tier prospect to make this run. It's obvious at this point that that's the case. So we're going to play the draft game, whether we like it or not. Now, are other teams around us going to tank harder than we are and try harder? We'll find out. But that's obvious. So to answer your question, I think 25 wins, it's going to be rough just because of the way that things are being handled right now. If we can get back to being healthy, maybe we reach 25, 27 wins, but definitely not 30 in my mind. It just hurts, though, to your point. You got Markel saying fourth seed. You had Coach Mosley in media day saying it's time to level up. And that became the thing. Like all the players were saying it. It's time to level up, level up. So all this hype that we have as fans right now comes from that place, from what we're hearing from the coaches, the players, and heck, that fourth seed by Markel got us really excited. But one really concerning one to me is one particular quote. Our goal this season is to dominate the simple. We got to dominate the simple little things, and that will help us level up. That was a quote from Media Day. Well, man, if you can't box out anyone out there and you can't have the right defensive rotations on the court, you don't dominate the simple that way, and you're definitely not going to level up that way. And what we saw last night against Atlanta and what we saw against Philadelphia on Sunday, man, it was rough to watch. And that's what has me so kind of, and you know what it is, maybe? The players themselves are in a state of shock at the injuries, at the way they're playing, at the record.
Is demoralizing. Like what are they? Okay, Coach Mose is not perfect. There's a lot of things that you can point at that you don't like, right? The rotations, the players that he has out there, decision making, not putting the what is that called? What is it called? I can't think of it. What is it called? The flag. The coaching challenge.
Oh, the challenges. Yes.
My God. Yeah, the challenges. Like there's a lot of things that you can point at. And at the same time, to kind of like balance it, like you can't just put the full blame on Coach Mose. Like the dude needs help out there. He needs weapons out there, and he hasn't been able to fight with his full artillery. Like he hasn't been able to do that. And until Markel is fully, because here's the thing. Like, yeah, that Atlanta game, we got Markel Fultz back, we got Cole Anthony back. But like what were you guys expecting? Like we're expecting that you integrate Markel and then boom, that's it, fourth seed. Like it doesn't work that way. He did well in his limited time, but it's also going to take him a minute to learn how to play with Franz, to learn how to play with Paolo, learn how to play with Bobo. This dude's coming out to a brand new basketball team.
Yeah.
It's going to take
Cole Anthony too. They've been on the team for a while and they've barely played together. So they got to get familiar with each other too as point guards and guards in this team. There's a lot going on. But yeah. It's rough right now because, again, the expectations were high coming into the season from all of us, fans, players, coaches, and what has transpired is rough. But to kind of calm you guys down a little bit, think about it this way. It's December 1st. Trade deadline is in 2 months. So believe it or not, 8 weeks. And believe it or not, 4 months, we're back, or what is it, 5 months now? We'll be here in the lottery again. So based on what we're seeing, we're going to have to play that game again this year, it seems like, unfortunately. I do understand, again, this draft coming up is really, really talented. And we need shooting and we need guard play. And guess what? There's a ton of that in the top 10, 12 in this draft.
In just the lottery, there's 50% of the players in this lottery are two guards.
Yep. Which
50%.
I mean, I love Jalen Suggs with a passion, but at the same time, let's be honest, the way he's played so far, we need a guard to push him around and say, hey, if you're not going to get it together, I will.
Yeah, and that's what I would advise. Like the diehards that's a little frustrated right now with the losing, because we are losing, and in order for us to mentally be able to have that balance, like here's the thing. Imagine you're a fan. You go to work. You have a tough day at work. Work is already exhausting as it is. You're frustrated at work. Then you get home. You're like, man, at least I got the Magic game. Magic comes on, get our ass beat by 30 points against a crappy ass Philadelphia team. Then you're even more frustrated. So your whole entire day is just frustration. Here's the positive. The positive is that start researching these players in the draft, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. At some point, the Magic will have to focus on playing, winning, and really focus on being healthy, right? There's a lot of names in this draft. Like, you don't just focus on the Wimbanyamas and the Scoot Henderson. Like, those are your top two heavy hitters. We know that those are going to be your top two in that order. We know Victor is going to be number one, right? The likelihood of us getting that number one pick again is so damn small, to the point that I'm not even, like, in my mind, I'm not picturing Victor. I'm not picturing Scoot. I'm not picturing none of those guys in a Magic uniform. I'm not going to set myself up for that type of disappointment. But I am looking at other names, and there's a lot of really, really good players in this draft that can really help the Magic. And the Magic really have more than one option. Like, we have two picks. Now, I saw online that people were already having the conversation prematurely, but already having the conversation of, well, wouldn't it be a really good idea to, I don't know, trade these picks for a veteran player to be able to help this team? And in my mind, I'm kind of like, that would be really rough with this draft, because there's so many good players. But at this point, I'm open for anything as long as it comes with wins, development, and the Magic actually doing something. Like, I'm ready for playoff basketball. And it's because we got a small taste of it, right? After going so long without it, that I'm ready to get back to it. But we also know that, there's a process. Now, this is what I would really want. What I would love right now is to hear from the front office. I would love, because when they do it, they go on their media tour, and they're talking to the game, they're talking to Orlando Sentinel, they're talking to everybody, right? I think it's time to do that, especially with Markelle Fultz coming back. I think it's time for them to be able to address the media and really, like, even because even when they speak, they really don't say much. But I also think that it's time for them to address it. At least address the injuries. At
I think
least.
I think unfortunately that won't happen until the trade deadline, if we make a trade, because that's what happened last year. We kept waiting, like, hey, can they come out and say something? Can they come out and speak to the fan base? Nope. They only made comments after, I think, the ball trade. I think they came out and did a little media tour, and then that's it. Um, but yeah, man, there's definitely a shift in my mind as well. We talk about it again. We talk when watching games and stuff, like, hey, is the playing tournament realistic? Are we still playing that card? Mentally, for me, like you said, it's all about player development at this point, eventually getting healthier. The growth of Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Bol is added to that equation now, which is a huge surprise. Focus on that. Watch the games. I think I saw a Houston Rockets fan that posted on Twitter today that he's watching the games with tape on the score to not really care about the outcome, just watching the game and enjoying it.
Yeah, that's
Because
mad clever. I might take that.
we may have to, man, because again, if you just watch the games, they're fun. Our team, I will say this openly, the fact that watching Vooch and Fournier and Aaron Gordon back in the days was boring. And yeah, it got us to a playoff seed, and we made it to the playoffs, great, but not really. This team is fun to watch. There's dunks, there's three-point shooting, there's a young team that's playing hard. I don't mind watching the games. It's just, again, the shift in mindset has to happen in the fan base to understand, hey, maybe what we thought it's not going to happen this year. But understand this, there's a lot to look forward to. Not only trade deadline, not only the draft, the lottery, but we got a ton of money to also make decisions on in the offseason. So we're going to have to decide, do we keep guys like RJ Hampton who are not playing, guys like Mo Bamba who doesn't have a second year guaranteed, Gary Harris, Terrence Ross. So things will change this offseason for the Magic. So the team that we see
Absolutely.
next year will be totally different. That
Yep.
has me excited. There's things to look forward to. It's just, again, we have to make that shift mentally to say, hey, unfortunately, it may be too late now. And I would hope, I would love to be wrong about this, and the Magic come back and get healthy next week, and all of a sudden they go on a 15-game winning streak, and we're back in business. I would love that. But being realistic, based on what we've seen so far, it's more likely that we're playing the lottery game than we will be playing in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and listen, the games they're not getting easier. And just the
Mm-mm.
next, we'll go 5 games. You got Cavs, Raptors, Bucks, Clippers, Raptors, and then followed by Raptors again, Hawks, Celtics, Hawks. We play against what the next winnable game on paper. We're looking at the Rockets on the 21st of December. Like that's a long period, man. It's gonna be, and now the Magic again. The Magic will surprise us. Like they'll get a one big win against one of these teams, but it's a part of me feels bad for the players just because like Terrence Ross is a player that I feel bad for just because we saw how disconnected he was last year. It looked like he was rejuvenized with everything going into this season, and then going into the season is not what he expected. And it's like uh, me, I feel like all right, it's time to let my man's go. Like get we're wasting his prime time where he can really be in an environment where winning is the priority. And I feel bad for Franz. I feel bad for Paolo. Franz is carrying a lot of the load. Paolo, his rookie season is I'm sure he's never had this much defeat before in his life.
Nope.
In his life, you're talking about AU circuits, high school basketball, college ball. You know, playing ball in Seattle. He's never lost as many games before in his life. There's no way. There's no way. So that for sure has to be an adjustment because if you're a player like Paolo, it's like cool. You're averaging, what, 22, 23 points a game, and you're getting recognition, but your team isn't winning. So it would be natural to question yourself and say, okay, I'm producing statistically, but it's not resulting into winning basketball games.
Hmm.
Which at the end of the day, what would you prefer? Would you prefer, someone that drops, 35, 40 points a game, or would you prefer someone that, you know, averages 15 points a game, but it results to winning? And he's a rookie. He's going to figure that out. But again, I can only imagine what's going through his mind of a player that is used to winning, number one pick, sent to the Orlando Magic, and man, we got all the cool, nice bells and whistles, man. We got this. Let me show you this training facility. But in this training facility, we got 19 of our players in there, like being held together by Bandaids.
Yeah, it's rough. It's got to change, man. It's got to change. But it's when the question, when is it going to change?
Yeah, yeah. When? All right, man. I feel like we went on a little
On a
negative
rant.
tip. Let's get a little positive. The positive is Paolo. Paolo is the positivity. All right. So some highlights. So unfortunately, Paolo did miss out on Rookie of the Month, and Benedict Mathurin, who I would say is his competition for Rookie of the Year, did end up winning it. Statistically, if you look at his stats, Paolo has better stats. However, Benedict has played more games. Are you okay with Paolo missing out on Rookie of the Month?
No. I think I would have loved to see him winning it. Would have get some recognition. He's played really well. I mean, leading the rookies in most categories, especially in points scored, which is a big one. Um, but to your point, didn't play enough games. He missed 7 games due to that ankle injury. And we talked about it last week. I was a little bit afraid of the fact that, hey, this guy may miss out on winning Rookie of the Year if that continues, or the front office shuts him down for any reason. He may miss out on that award because we need that. We need some wins. We need some awards to come to Orlando, more media attention. This is one of them. So sucks to see it. But the good thing is the stats will be there. He will continue to perform with Markel out there and Cole Anthony even more, a little more spacing to create, a little more easier time scoring, cutting to the basket, alley oops. That's all coming. So I think it's going to win the upcoming months here coming up. But it's kind of scary that if we play the game of being extra careful and if he just simply tweaks a toe again, he's going to miss the next month. If that happens, we may be not getting that award, the Rookie of the Year award. How about you? Do you think Matherin deserves it? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think so. He's I mean, his stats aren't exactly where Paolo is, but it's close enough. He's played more basketball games. I'm okay with him not winning Rookie of the Month as long as he wins Rookie of the Year,
Yep.
right? He has to stay healthy in order to do that. Al, you brought up an example of Zion winning Rookie of the Year, and that was false. I don't know where you got your information from. Just want to clear that up for this episode because a lot of people are calling you out on that. Zion did not win Rookie of the Year. Come on, bro.
They corrected you on that really quickly on Twitter.
And what's crazy is that I was super confident about it, like mad confident. Like I would have fought that with anybody. Yeah, but listen, I'm not a Pelicans fan, man. How am I supposed to know? But no, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Paolo. I think he didn't win Rookie of the Month, but he'll be all right.
Yeah.
Now Paolo did break another record, right? Paolo is the rookie for the Orlando Magic with the most points scored after just 15 games in Magic history, beating Shaq by a total of 1 point. 339 points in the first 15 games. Shaq at 338. So it feels like little by little, man, we're erasing all those statistical factors from Shaquille O'Neal. But really exciting for Paolo because man, he's a different animal when it comes to just what he's able to do so quickly. And it also makes me wonder, like, if we were to fast forward this into next year, wherever Victor ends up landing, like, do you see the next number one pick producing as much as Paolo Banchero is producing right now? Like, I find it hard to believe. I've seen the videos, I see the intangibles, I see the freak of a nature that this dude is, and everything. This dude is doing a crossover running legged 3-point shot. Like, I see that he's ridiculous. But I also see other parts where I can see him struggling in the NBA. To where you see Paolo, and Paolo he's mad confident, he's mad poised, he's patient, he's not rushing a lot of things. He's still making rookie mistakes, but in my mind, it's kind of like, if he's playing like this now, what does sophomore Paolo look like? What does second contract Paolo look like?
Oh,
Like, it's scary. It's scary to think. Like, I cannot. I still not. I can't believe that we had this type of player on our team.
no. To answer your question, I don't think that. I don't expect Victor to come out next year averaging 23 points in his first couple of months in the NBA. I just don't see it. For whatever reason, those type of guys that think of Ball, which we'll talk about in a minute here. What Paolo said about him and KD as well, but think about Ball, how long it took him to kind of get used to the NBA game and how to use his physique at the NBA level, being so skinny, and it's not easy. Chet, I'm sorry to say this, but hey, got hurt in freaking summer league or whatever it was, one of those exhibition games in Seattle.
In his defense, the floor was slippery. It's not his fault.
We all said it.
He was slippery. It was slippery, and he was guarding LeBron, and like, it was just a bad move all around. Right?
But also, do you see Victor the other day? He slipped also on the court. His knee like bent in some random way. I don't know how he got up from that.
Dude, his knee bent in like a pretzel. It was insane.
My point is, man,
minute, it's so funny because the minute I saw that video, I was like, nope, nah, no. And I think it's just from all the PTSD that we got from our players being injured. Like, if in my mind, if the Magic were to draft, like, if we have if we're put in a position to be able to draft Victor, like, in my mind, I don't see Victor playing for another 2 years. Like, I get, because I've asked this question to people who are a lot smarter than me when it comes to the draft, and they talk about, I ask, like, what there was so much concern with Chet. Why isn't there as much concern with Victor? And they tell me, oh, the shoulders are different, the muscle capacity is different. But yeah, whatever, bro. I see the same fears on Victor, and I'm sure that we're going to see comments where I'm sure that people are going to talk about, who know more about this than I do, we'll sit here and say, nah, Victor's different until he's not.
Exactly. You know what it is with those tall guys? Their feet and just their legs are so freaking long. They can easily step on someone and sprain an ankle and whatever it may be. Either way, the point of the story is I do not think we'll see him averaging 20 plus points,
I don't think
right
so.
off the bat. So I
Definitely not.
think Paolo, if you ask me, Paolo will be a better prospect, at least in the immediate future. We're going to see 5, 10 years from now, but I would take Paolo over him, especially scoring wise, right off the bat.
Ooh, people aren't going to like that comment. They're going to come
Okay.
after you. They're going to come after you out. I mean, who needs Victor when you have Bobo, right? I
So
mean,
Paolo's saying,
that's what Paolo's saying. So, Paolo was quoted saying, "Everyone talks about Victor dude from France. I'm not trying to compare them, but Bo's 7'2", shoots threes, brings it up the court, makes passes, and blocks shots. I feel like people kind of forgot about him, but Bo is a freak of nature. Um, dude, I love the story of Bobo because in the beginning of the season, we joked around about it. Like, is he really going to be? Is he really going to be a player on this team? Is he going to crack minutes? Was he really a throw in? People were surprised that we kept him. You know, we even though we kept him, we got him as a player that was coming off an injury. The fact that he's been able to do everything that he's done is not only amazing for him, but amazing for the game of basketball. This dude has so much support across the NBA. Everyone is talking about Bobo. You got Kyle Kuzma talking about like this dude is next one up, and you have so many people that are really 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 waiting and watching to see what he's able to do. And it's great because kind of going back to training camp, these were some of the things that the players were telling us.
mm-hmm.
Some of the things that they see on the court is insane. They've never seen anything like it. Like he's a crazy basketball player, high IQ, the whole nine. And then, preseason came around. It's kind of like, guys, like you said that Bobo was nice. What are we doing here? So to be able to see his quick development is awesome because he's a player that, in my opinion, if he can stay healthy, I think that the Magic, they have no choice but to keep him around for as long as humanly possible.
For sure. I mean, this is one of those guys. I feel like guys like Markel, Paolo, and Bobo are guys that no matter what they do out there, social media just kind of gravitates towards whatever they're doing. And it's a huge thing. Bobo more than anybody else. I mean, Bobo's getting a ton of love right now, like you mentioned. Kyle Kuzma, we heard what Paolo had to say. KD gave him a lot of love after their game
Yep.
against Brooklyn. So listen, Ball's got a bright future. He's got to stay healthy. And I'm going to say it, man, a lot of love to him, but I'm also going to say it. He's got to try a little bit harder on defense. Again, that game against the Hawks yesterday was a little bit of a red flag to me. Did not seem interested one bit in boxing out Capella, rebounding over him, nothing. Probably one of the worst games of the season that I've seen from him last night. But then again, the entire team played horrible. But no, man, I think Ball is one of those guys that, like you mentioned, if he stays healthy this year, and also I see this a lot on social media. We got to sign him. We got to sign him. Offer him a deal right now. Guys, this guy barely played in Denver because he kept getting hurt. Make sure he stays healthy. Finish the year strong.
Correct.
He is under contract next year. For those that don't know, $2 million once again. So he is a Magic player next year, no matter what. If we don't train him next year, let's talk about that. Or this offseason, let's talk about that. But right now, he's got to prove that he can stay healthy and be consistent with his numbers that he's producing. Love him to death. I love the storyline as well. I think he can be a great piece to us, but he's got to prove it and earn that paycheck rather than just get super excited and just to throw money around. It's too early for that. But yeah, man, I do think that Victor Ball talks, there's some merit to it. And don't forget, Ball is doing it at the NBA level, not against some young kids in France that are never going to be at the NBA. So Ball is doing it against KD. He's doing it against Paolo in practice. He's doing it against Wendell in practice. Big man, NBA players. That should say something as well.
Yeah, and the fact that he's getting these type of compliments from his teammates, whether it's a rookie or not. Again, it shows a belief in the team, and the coach Mose, you can tell you gave him the green light, man. You go out there, you play your basketball, and you do you, and he's going to shine. But yeah, man, really good stuff. The week ahead. So we got Cleveland tonight, tomorrow against Toronto, Monday, Milwaukee, Wednesday, LA Clippers. Really, really tough game. Let's get your quick predictions.
Man. It seems like Wendell won't be back anytime soon. We've gotten no updates from Jalen Suggs. Gary Harris, it was nice seeing you for a couple of days. He's back injured again. The lack of big guys, especially Wendell, worries me. I'm going to go 0-4, although we will play more competitive, but it's not going to be pretty.
So we're going on a 10-game losing streak, huh?
Yeah, man. This opponents, I don't see it.
That's rough. No, I think that we're gonna end up kind of squeezing one out. I gotta win against Toronto. That's what I'm thinking.
So that's the guy that predicted what was it, 4 in 1 week or 3 in 1 week this last week?
Yo, you calling me out?
Listen, man, I'm suffering. I'm hurting.
Markel's back, man. Eventually, his minute restrictions will be taken out.
Oh, by the way, you said they're gonna win against Toronto. Markel probably won't play in Toronto. Second game of back-to-back, the toe, Yeah,
you're right. Unless he doesn't play in Cleveland, so he's available for Toronto. Really, I just want to see a Scottie Barnes and Franz matchup. That's what I want to see.
By the way, before we close it out, we forgot to mention this. Franz was named as one of the nominated players for Eastern Conference Player of the Month. Impressive. While at the same time, Scottie Barnes got benched in Toronto. What do you make of that real quick? 1 minute.
I mean,
Put you off guard there.
No, he's not our player. So I really, tough. Like I've heard from no Raptors fans. Like that's it. The Raptors fans are out of my. Like I would still get random comments on social media, like randomly out of nowhere. So from Raptors fans. So I'm glad that that's already deaded out, and I'm sure that they'll come back. I think Scottie Barnes will be all right. I think that there was a lot of hype for him, and deservingly so. Rookie of the year. But sophomore wall. Yeah, he'll be all
Thoughts on the nickname, the MCW of the North?
Is that real?
Yeah.
Is that real? Who did that? Was that Well God?
Magic fans. Yeah, Well God came up with a graphic and everything.
Oh, nice. It's got to be the one. I'm glad it was him. Nah, man. I think Toronto's going to get that win. Franz is going to ball out that game, and that's it, man. That's it.
I hope Jalen Suggs plays. I don't think he will, but it will be nice to see Jalen Suggs play against the Raptors. Always a little something to that game.
Yeah, I agree. Let's how about we do this? How about we put some energy in the air and let's not go on a 10-game losing streak. How about that?
But it's cool, man. Can I mess that up?
No, man. You've been too negative, bro. You're way too negative. We need to work on that. You're normally the positive one. All right, man. It's a wrap. That's it, man. We're done with this episode. Appreciate you guys for listening. It's a wrap. Catch you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to the OZone Podcast, the voice of Magic fans. For all the latest Orlando Magic news and updates, follow us on Twitter at the OZone Pod and on Instagram at Orlando Magic HQ. Remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on all your favorite podcast listening platforms.